I've been very excited about playing this festival for a long time, and since I've been here on the ranch for about a week, people have been pouring requests of different pieces, and I really genuinely appreciate that. And we're going to leave you with this one. It's a request. This is my 25th year of being on the road. And to celebrate that, I have put together an anthology of my poetry from over the years. It's called Avoiding Godot. This one's in there. And as most of you know, most of my stories start off with a phrase, my car broke down. Only the time I'm thinking of, the car didn't exactly break down. The engine, it fell out of the vehicle. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever had the engine fall out of your vehicle or not, but trust me, it is a sight to behold. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I called up my oldest friend in the world who said he'd be glad to drive the 3 hours down from Atlanta to get to LaGrange. I sat on a milk crate and panhandled change. I don't know if you've ever tried to panhandle change when you're wearing a t-shirt that says, just say no to a real job. But the folks at LaGrange, they all seemed annoyed as I purchased a Schlitz malt liquor tall boy and went back to my milk crate where I had to wait. I shared my last cigarette with another vagrant who was peddling flowers, and we swapped stories and wasted the hours. And his story had it that these two guys got really drunk on Night Train and MD 2020. They were riding on this boxcar and got caught and were thrown from the moving vehicle and were subsequently killed. And his story had it that their bodies were so polluted with Night Train and MD 2020 that when they were buried in a shallow grave outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin, nothing will grow there to this day. Now, I'm like you, I had to tell my friend that I did not believe his story, but I somehow thought it was beautiful.
This is not a folk song, it's about the way I feel. Whether that's universal, now I'm out of tell. It's not a folk song, but you're welcome to sing along. It ain't got no harmony, but I think that's okay. To tell you the truth, I'm not feeling harmonious today.
Now, actually, this story here is about my friend Frank. See, Frank, he's my oldest friend in the world. We did everything together. We were growing up. Our buildings faced each other there in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We had rock wars against each other. Went to kindergarten together. Went through puberty together. We went through juvenile delinquency together. Me and Frank, we even detoxed together. And when Frank got there, he did what he does best, what he does to this day. See, he's an interpreter for the deaf, and he didn't say a word. Instead, he just handed me a bottle of tequila because he knew the way I'd be feeling. We took off about 75 miles an hour past the shotgun distilleries, and I started laying it on real thick and heavy to my friend Frank, how I didn't think the past 23, 24, 25 years of my life amounted to anything. Traveling around the country, living in the back of a pickup truck, maybe coming to a folk festival and getting some of the staff to help you put together a camper to build on the back so you can go live and play on the streets, or maybe staying in homeless shelters and write stories about the people that I meet. And maybe every now and then get invited somewhere and tell some of these stories as if they were folk songs. Well, as I started getting real thick and heavy into my self-pity rap, I looked over to Frank for some kind of response, kind of like I'm looking to you right now. No, Frank, he still hadn't said anything. Instead, he just looked up, which made me look up. And I noticed for the first time these giant iron butterflies ejecting and rejecting their landing gear, which could only mean one thing, that we were headed towards the Atlanta airport, the world's largest airport. You guys have probably seen, probably been to the Atlanta airport before. If you ever had to fly from San Antonio to Los Angeles, you probably had to go through the Atlanta airport just to get there. Anyway, Frank, he exited the last remaining exit of Hateville, Georgia. We were on this little dirt road, and we were fishtailing up along it. So we came up to this chain link fence. And Frank, he nudged it with the front bumper of his car, and that gate swung open. And I'm not making this up. We found ourselves no longer near the Atlanta airport, but we were in it. And I don't mean in the parking lot. I mean, me and my oldest friend in the world managed to get down between the runways, and we were in fact drag racing a 727. And I swear to God, there for a minute, we were gonna win. Because we were about flying till we saw this other chain link fence coming up on us real fast. And Frankie locked him down, going around, fishtailed up alongside of it, reached in his pocket, he pulled out a little white piece of paper, undid a combination lock, pulled that pickup truck inside. And my friends, right now, tonight, there is about a 20-yard fenced-off area that sits between the runways of the Atlanta airport.
This is not a folk song, it's about the way I feel. Whether that's universal, how am I to tell? It's not a folk song, but you're welcome to sing along. It ain't got no melody, I think that's okay. Just tell you the truth, I'm not feeling melodious today.
Now the reason that 20-yard fenced-off area sits between the runways of the Atlanta airport is because it is a graveyard. And I don't know how it is here in the state of Texas, but where I'm from in the state of Georgia, you got to ask a family's permission to move a graveyard. And my friend Frank's family simply did not give the Atlanta airport permission to move that tiny little graveyard. And I looked down at some of the dates, and they were all there from before the Civil War. And I don't know if y'all know much about the city of Atlanta at all, but to find anything that's there from before when Sherman built the first interstate system through to Charleston, it was relatively significant. And I looked down at one of the dates, and the one that caught my eye, it said, Emmanuel, age 7, house servant. And I went to ask my friend Frank about that. But old Frank, he still hadn't said anything. Instead, he just climbed up on top of the tallest monument. So I climbed up there with him, drinking tequila with my oldest friend in the world, watching these planes take off so close I could actually make out figures in the window. And I noticed from that height, the planes, they had to jog left and then dart right to avoid this tiny little graveyard. And I started thinking about my measly 20 years of living on the road and how that probably never will amount to anything. But my friends, here was the life of one 7-year-old slave who could change or at least slow down the steamrollers of progress 150 years after his death. And that, my friends, I thought was beautiful.
This is not a folk song, It's about the way I feel, whether that's universal. How am I to tell? It's not a folk song, but you're welcome to sing along. And it's played out of tune, but that's alright with me. Just tell you the truth, the whole world's out of tune today.
It has been a pleasure performing for you this evening. I'd like to thank the staff at this great folk festival for doing such a tremendous job. Chris on the sound, Curtis on the monitors. I would like to thank Dallas Allen for tending these rocky roads and making it bloom Brigadoon like it does twice a year, and that is a lot of hard work. I would like to take this moment to personally thank Rod Kennedy for providing us the canvas on which we could all create this folk festival together. On the drums, Mike Meadows. On the bass, Jesse Dalton. Frankie Hernandez. And Feeney. And my music director, Paul Benoit from Seattle, Washington. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Chandler!